whatever you hit. All right, hey, welcome, Joe Leonard here. Welcome to my basement. Well, it's not quite my basement. This is Dill Dinkers Frederick. We usually do this. I usually do it out of my basement. I haven't tortured anybody and actually dragged them down there yet. But we are excited to have some super special guests here today. We have Jill Martin and Dayne Gingrich here in the house. They've actually just completed a couple days of really exclusive training for 16, 2 days, 8 players a day of training for folks for 4.5 hours. I'm really jealous that I didn't get to get a spot in there, but they'll come back next year and you can come in and do it when they get back. So real quick, Jill is a fitness professional, a yoga professional, and a high-level pickleball player and coach. And you're a trained attorney. You're actually a litigator, and you came out of law,
yes,
right?
That's right. Yes,
wow.
I made the very common career choice of going from lawyer to fitness instructor.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that story. And that story's in the book, so get the book and listen to the story. And Dayne, of course, we all know Dayne from playing in professional pickleball and online on platforms. Dayne is a top men's senior pro pickleball player with many gold medals and wins on the professional tour, both men's and mixed doubles. You've been in professional sports for over 30 years, which is amazing in itself, coaching tennis, and since about 2017, 2018 in pickleball.
Yeah.
And your focus is mental performance coaching.
Yeah.
I always chew that up, mental performance coaching. So
it's a big topic to chew.
Yeah.
Big.
When I hear the word mental, I'm like, okay, we're all messed up, and Dayne's going to solve all our problems, which probably is not far from the truth. But
I'm just as messed up as anybody, which made me so excited to get into this type of training way back, in my 20s, because I was seeing, what messed me up as a high school athlete, failed my college scholarships, got those all taken away, just ruined those. And as I got older, I was just trying to figure out mentally what that was about. And so
you're very open about that, and
yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about how, and you can tell just by looking at you, that you were a young athlete, a young tennis player, and actually played a bunch of different sports,
yeah.
right? And you're tall. He's a lot taller than I thought he was, but then again, everybody's taller than I think they are. How tall are you? Like
6'1".
6'1".
Yeah,
I think I'm shrinking. Actually,
huge.
the doctor told me I was shrinking. I'm in denial, seriously. But yeah, so you played tennis, basketball.
Yeah.
Sounds like you dabble in golf a little bit.
Played golf later in my 20s, and played to about a 2 handicap, nowhere near like a pro level, but it was I'm just fascinated with the mental performance of all of these sports, what separates the good ones from the phenomenal ones, and golf is no different. So it was just another toy to play with and see how good I could get, more on the mental side than anything.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So when you get the book and you read the book, you're going to find out pretty quickly that this is a different kind of coaching book.
Yeah.
They aren't going into the technique aspects of it necessarily. Technique is there, but you guys are really going more into the mental side of it and the figuring out your opponent's thing. And here's the book right here, Pickleball Mindset. I'm on my second read.
Wow.
Actually, my second listen, and I'm sure I'll do 5 or 10 because I listened to you guys, and they both voiced the book, or I don't know what the words are for that,
yeah.
Acted, performed the book themselves in their own voices. You did a great job. You'll say something, I'll think about it, and then I miss whatever's next. And when I come back and I listen again, I get the second thing that I got. So my first question is, how the heck did the two of you get together, right? So,
yeah.
I've been following you for years,
yeah.
right? And
Sorry about that.
That's all right, man. I appreciate that. How did you guys get together?
Want to take that?
No, you go.
So it was over the pandemic, and I was still actually practicing law. I had been asked to play pickleball a number of times before the pandemic. I used to be more of an endurance athlete, so I did like a lot of ultra running and triathlons. And so when people would ask me to play pickleball, I was like, yeah, no thanks. That's like an old person's sport. It's not challenging.
Right.
And then the world shut down, and somebody asked me to do a pickleball clinic. The courts were closed. This was back when I was a civil litigator, and it was one of the only activities that you could do because it was like outside and you were 6 feet apart. And I all of a sudden thought like it sounded pretty appealing. And I went out, and as soon, like on my way home from the first clinic, I called my friend who was my training partner in ultras, and I was like, I found our new thing. This is what we're doing. We're never running again. We're playing pickleball every day for the rest of our life.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
Like, essentially, that's what I've done. So then I was playing a bunch of pickleball. Dayne, I had heard of Dayne. I actually knew his family because our children went to elementary school together, and I used to see him at like elementary school pickups. His wife is like beautiful and sweet, and I would see her at drop off, and she was friendly and nice. And then this like guy with like chronic 5 o'clock shadow would come and like eyes down, head locked, do elementary school pickup, not talk to a single mom. And I was like, who is that guy? Anyway, then I found out he was a pickleball coach, and he was kind of known as, once you got good enough, like you couldn't be a beginner. You would like save up your money and do a lesson with him. And then I actually saw him doing a lesson with this guy in our town who's this really aggressive guy. And I was watching the lesson, and Dayne is like yelling at it, like hitting them both, yelling. And I was like, why would anybody pay to take a lesson with that guy? But then eventually I had heard so many good things that I took a lesson. And in that first lesson, I was probably at 3-5. I think I did something where I stood on one foot, and I took a ball, like I reached in and took a ball out of the air in the kitchen. And he was like, stop the clinic. I've never seen somebody at your level do that. Why can you do that? I want to be able to do that. My friend said, oh, well, she's a trainer and a yoga instructor. And so he asked to train with me. And then I'm just a chronically curious person, and my mental game was definitely holding me back more than anything physical. So then I just would always text him more questions, like, well, what about this? What about this? And after doing that for about 6 months, I was thinking about leaving the law, and I had always been a writer as an attorney. So I just said, we should write a book. One night I texted him, we should write a book. And he said, okay.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, I heard that in the book where he had said he's been in it for so long, 30 years plus, whatever, that he'd been thinking about writing a book for 20, 30 years, right? And then you guys meet, and you're just the kind of catalyst that he would need, you know, especially if you're inspired to do all the analytical stuff to put a book together, and you can lean on her, and you can just be yourself and just expound, you know.
And she's an amazing writer, and I don't think people understand actually how much she put together in this book. Like, I actually don't like it when people say that it's my book, because it is not my book. I co-authored 50, she co-authored 50. It is our book, but I spent 30 years putting together a lot of content, and she spent about 30 gazillion hours helping put that content into formatting and editing and taking my writing and making it better. And then hers, like, so she has done, without Jill, this book is absolutely not out. That's
and I can tell you from personal experience listening to it, and I know you had your doubts about you being in there. And actually, I've gotten a few clients who have said, you know, without her piece, it really, you know, it would be good, but it wouldn't be the same. Because what you're bringing is real experience, you know, going from a 3.5 to a 4.7, real grinding, you know, that the average pickleball player, you know, and we are the average pickleball players. We're not all professional pickleball players, although we dream of it, and it's never going to happen. We're 3.5s and 3.0s and 3.25s and struggling to get to 4.0.
Joe, it is not over for us yet.
I told you in our text, I'm a forever 4.5, which I don't know if you chuckled at that, but for me, when I got in, which was 2017, pros were 5.0.
Yeah.
That was it, man. That was the top of the heap.
Now that's a pretty good amateur now.
Well, yeah, apparently. Yeah. So I still think that way, though. Yeah. So for me, I don't compete, so I don't really keep a duper. We had the duper conversation yesterday. Yeah. I don't really keep a duper. You know, I think of myself as a forever 4.5 until I start competing. When I start competing again, I'm going to compete at 5-0. And I told one of my coaches that. I said, look, I'm going to compete at 5-0, and if I go out and I get beat, then I go out and I get beat, which is fine. And if I have to drop, I'll drop. But for me, I'm forever 4-5 until I prove that I'm a real 5-0 plus, whatever it is. And to me, that's going out and competing.
But I think she resonates with you, and she resonates with so many people because like you said, like the concepts of what I was talking about, it's nice and it's been done and it's fine. But she brought it to life and she was super vulnerable and open about sharing her struggles and bottom drops and then celebrations too. And I'll never forget the day we were at Starbucks. The way we did it is we recorded it and we put it down, and we'd write, and she would write the recording. And I remember her saying, I'm going to delete my part. Nobody's going to want to listen to my part. And I just kept saying, you're out of your mind. Your part is why this book is going to explode. No, nobody wants to hear it. And I just thank goodness that she hung in, because you're 100% right. Her part in the book creates relevance, right? It resonates because everybody's sitting thinking, I'm the only one struggling. I'm the only one that's had the yips. I'm the only one that can't make a third. I'm the only one that struggles in the stressful big moments. And this has proven that everybody on the planet struggles with that.
Right. Do you have a magic pill for the yips that you can share?
It's really tough.
I was really glad I put it in.
I just had to ask. You mentioned
I don't have a magic pill, but she went through it, and we've talked about it.
I went through it, and it was rough. Mine lasted for a long time, and I'm actually glad I acknowledged it in the book, because some of the best conversations I've had with people, I have like the biggest soft spot for anybody going through it, because I think it's it can ruin the sport for you. It can really strip the joy of the sport for you. And so sometimes, because it's in the book, I'll get DMs from people who are going through it. And so I spend a lot of time on the phone just talking to people who've had
Wow, that's really nice of you.
Because it's like, I think it's rough. I think unless you've experienced it, it's really hard to understand what it feels like, what it's like, and why maybe the sport that you love, you would consider not playing it again because it's so uncomfortable. So I will talk to, I mean, I probably shouldn't say this, but I will pretty much talk to anybody who's had the yips, because I think it's really, so there's this woman, every time I see her, I call her the nicest person in pickleball. I was playing in a tournament because I wouldn't stop playing tournaments because I'm like a very stubborn person. So I was like, I'm not going to let this get me. So I would yip my way through tournaments, which it looks a little bit like when you watch people watching, even your opponents, it's a little bit like a car crash. Like people are like, I can't stop looking, but I don't want to, everybody's uncomfortable, even your opponents.
Are you looking at your partner?
No, like when you yip the serve, everybody's uncomfortable.
Okay,
even
I got
your
you.
opponents
Right,
are like,
right. Everybody's struggling and feels your pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, but everybody kind of ignores it. Like
Yeah.
everybody pretends it's not happening. And this one woman, after I had yipped my way through a match, came up to me and she just said to me, okay, how long has this been going on? She was my opponent. She was just beat me. She's like, how long has this been going on? And it was so nice to have somebody acknowledge it. She's like, I went through it. You're going to be fine, blah, blah. I started crying. She like gave me a hug, and then I didn't yip the rest of the tournament.
Oh, that's
like
great.
I just needed somebody to be like, you're good. This is going to pass. She was awesome.
I've been there. It's happened. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I think people make the mistake with the yips of trying to fix it mechanically, and it's not.
Just
a
gets worse,
mechanical
right?
thing. It's a central nervous system thing. It's something that's happening. It's not a physical, because we see what's going on with the physical, and so naturally people are trying to help and trying to give you advice, but it makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because it makes you locked in on the physicality.
You're going to have to do a chapter just on that next time. Now, I come from this place where I don't even like to say the word.
Yes, I don't need. Yeah,
so I come from golf.
Yeah, we never say
You never say that in golf to any. And if you do, you got to flip your hat upside down and wear like a clown for the rest of the round.
Yeah.
It's that taboo.
Yeah.
But it happens. It's a reality, and it is a mental thing.
Yeah.
And actually, if there was a mental, and people have asked me, Jill went through it, my wife went through it years and years ago. I don't really have a great answer. I mean, we worked together when Jill was going through it, but I don't have a great answer. I mean, if you guys have a process, it's really got to be a process to get an understanding, or it's okay, and then you get through it or something.
Well, when I've talked to people, the people that I've talked to, I don't know, there's probably research on this, so I don't want to like make things up, but what I've noticed anecdotally, mentally, is that there's usually a confluence of one or two things. One is that something has shifted in the game, whether it's a self-imposed expectation, or maybe they've become a coach, or maybe they've joined a new team. There becomes some sort of performative expectation, and then oftentimes that's coupled with something off of the court. There's like a stressor in their life.
Oh, okay.
That.
And
Wow.
so, because it's not mechanical, like people who have gone through it, they'll tell you, like, I mean, I remember people would tell me, like, oh, it's because you're turning your hand like this. I was like, do you think I think it's a good idea to serve the ball like this? Like, I am not intending to do that. But it was out of my control. Like, it really, I couldn't get, you know, I'm a yoga instructor. If you tell me to internally rotate my pinky toe, I can do it. But I couldn't get my right arm to do what I wanted it to do because it had nothing to do with my right arm. And so, like, for me, I had to look, like, off of the court about, like, calming my whole central nervous system down, and then addressing the piece about, for me, it came on when he started talking publicly that we were writing this book.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my mind, it became like, I'm working with the top mental performance coach. I should have the best mental game. I should be able to do these things. I had this whole list of expectations that completely overwhelmed me. And the coupling of having some like external stress and that was like a kind of a perfect storm. So I think it's often two things together, and that you have to address kind of bringing your whole nervous system down as well as kind of whatever. And then he helped me a bunch just by changing my serve. You know, like I just had to completely, I had to drop my old serve, do different things. I had to bring more movement into my serve, you know, moving my whole body.
Wonderful. Now, you know, this kind of takes us into, you know, probably there's nobody out there more than you that have been thinking about mindset for the last 30 years, whatever it's been. But do you ever really master mindset?
No. And I say it all the time. You never master it. We just hope to get better at it. Like,
Right.
because there's never an ending point at anything. I don't even think you master the physicality of this game, right? I think you can get a little closer than the mental game, but I think there's just it's all about constantly being curious to improve.
Yeah, I love that, especially with, you know, since 2017, the different shots that have come into play.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I saw one yesterday. It's Ben and J.W. Johnson's shovel, you know, back here.
Yeah.
And, you know, these kids, these guys and gals are creating new stuff every day, and it's just going to keep, that's exciting.
Yeah.
More stuff's coming out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a big deal to have an ATP in a tournament or something. Now it's like commonplace, and it's all defense, and everybody just keeps going.
Right.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the mental game is now starting to be talked about a little bit more in pickleball, where it's becoming a little bit more normal. Where back in the day when I first started it in my 20s, like, except for golf, the other sports were like, you know, Bob Rotella in golf,
right?
Dr. Rotella, like, he was the pioneer, he was the main guy in golf, and that had been going for years. But talking about the other sports, it was like, no, because when you say mental performance, they immediately think therapy on my couch, something's wrong.
Right. I'm banging it into the woods. I can't hit it straight. I can't make a putt. You know, put me on the couch, lay me down.
Correct. Mental performance training is literally the same thing as third shot drop training. It's just a different type of training.
Right.
And people, they think, if I just drill enough, if I train enough, I'll get mentally tough.
Right.
There's a piece you'll get a little tougher because you'll gain a little bit more confidence.
Right.
Or they think, you know, like, I'll do it once a week. Like, would you hit third drops? If you're a serious player, would you just hit third drops once a week? This is something, and I'm not saying you have to have an official coach, but you have visualization, you have meditation, you have ghost playing, you have constantly thinking about in your brain different patterns, you have video watching. There's so many different ways of training yourself mentally. There's writing, there's journaling, there's so many different ways. You don't just have to sit on a couch with a therapist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've never called myself a sports psychologist. I purposely didn't get that degree because I didn't want to be the guy that was thought of as on the couch. I wanted to be a coach, like a player, an athlete. We speak the same language. I want to sit down and I want you to know that I know you, right? So I think that's really, really important too. This is not some woo-woo weird psychological mumbo jumbo. This is literally the same as training your physical game. We're just using different language.
Yeah.
Right? But it's still aimed towards the same piece.
Yeah, well, I kind of went there in golf. There were 2 books I read in golf. One was called Quantum Golf, and my game was good enough where I was a single digit, but this took me to another level.
Yeah.
It almost became mystical.
Yeah.
Then there was Golf in the Kingdom, and that actually takes you to a completely different sort of place, which I like to hang out there.
Yeah.
But I'm weird that way.
Yeah.
So tell me, with Pickleball Mindset, you guys are like touring the country. You don't do that many a year. We were really lucky to catch you guys.
Yeah.
I know you got 2 more in Virginia coming up this weekend. What are you doing with it, and what are you doing in these clinics that really are a lot different than your average coaching clinic?
Go ahead, Miss Martin.
So yeah, we've been super lucky. I think maybe we put on 10 clinics to date, something like that. And these clinics, I used to do clinics at the beginning, and oftentimes there's like a pretty common sequence. It's like, work on your soft game, work on your fast game, work on your thirds. And this, like Dayne always says at the beginning of the clinics, you're going to do every single one of those shots, but we're going to do it all from the mental performance perspective. And so it's all about thinking about what's happening on the other side of the court, like what are your opponent's vulnerabilities, tendencies, and strengths. So rather than being focused on what's the shot that I want to hit and how am I going to hit it, am I starting low to high, and like what's my grip pressure, you're thinking about where do I want to put the shot that puts me in the best position vis-a-vis my opponent.
Right. And I've heard you say it a lot, the puzzle, right? Figure out the puzzle. You know, I read it on my phone, Dayne talking about the puzzle again. What puzzle? What puzzle? I don't even warm up when I need to be warming up and doing some yoga. What puzzle am I figuring out?
We're done. The puzzle is your opponent's tendencies and patterns.
Right.
Every ball we hit should be determined by the information we're trying to acquire from the other side of the net. But most players, when they step on the court, they're only focused on themselves. My coach said this, and I'm trying to do this.
Right.
I'm trying not to embarrass myself. I'm trying not to let my partner down. I. And we miss 98% of the information, the most valuable information that's on the other side of the net.
And why are we that way?
Well,
are we that eye-centered, or what?
Well, first, I think it's probably human nature.
Yeah.
I think just as humans, we're selfish. Everything is I.
Right.
But when we train, when we're drilling, what are we drilling? We're drilling mechanics, our mechanics. Right. When we take lessons, our stuff.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that, as long as we're not ignoring the other piece.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we decided to do the Pickleball Mindset clinics, we just decided I will not do a normal clinic. That is not. I mean, there's a ton of people doing that. Plus, I think the information, the most valuable information, is the stuff that isn't being taught.
Right.
Which is, we just constantly say them. What's happening with them? Don't tell me about this or what you're doing here. Tell me about why you hit it, what you saw, what you think about them. And so we kind of fire hose you with information to like different information to have you, because our intention when you leave here is actually different than most might think. I don't want you to leave here going, yes, that was so good, that was so easy. I want you to leave here going, what the hell just happened? Like, I want you to like, well, I've never thought about it that way. I've never thought like that. I've never focused on something like that. I don't necessarily even know if I agree, but I'm gonna think about it. Like, that excites me.
Okay.
Like the whole like rah, that clinic was incredible. That's great, but like, if you don't walk out of here curious or questioning or doubting, we failed you. Because I want it to be that different. I want it to be, you've never thought about that idea before. You've never seen that in your opponent before. That when you leave here, you have to question, are they out of their mind? Like, is that something I'll really use? Because once you start asking those questions, you'll find the answer to them,
So I got to ask, is this for pros only? Is this for aspiring pros? Is this for your average amateur? Because you and we all know the sweet spot, the big bulk of players that are in this sport, business, whatever you call it, the big bulk are 3-0s, 3-2-5s, 3-5s, man. That 90% of the public out, how are they going to start caring? Now they're playing rec ball, right? If they're a tournament player, okay, you get closer to that. Oh, I get this burning desire to what piece can I add to my quiver? Is this for rec players or is it just for pros?
So I think a couple different things. I think that every single rec player, no matter what level you're at, has days on the court where they feel like they can't miss a ball, that it's like they're on fire, and then they have days where they can't make a ball. And so we already know that nothing has changed about them physically. And so we know at every single level, the mental game impacts your game, no matter what your skill is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think anybody can benefit at any level, even casual rec players, from thinking about the mental aspect of the game, from like trying to improve that skill, just like you try to improve your mechanics. In terms of our clinics, they're not for everybody for sure. And I think that like we've kind of determined that in order to be able to, they're fast paced, they're challenging, that a 3-5 is kind of our lowest level for a clinic, but we keep our clinics aren't for everybody, and that's okay with us. We keep them small, and it's 3-5 all the way up to 4-5 plus 5-0. Yeah.
But if they're not, I'm going to piggyback. They're not for everybody because of level. They're not for everybody because not everybody wants to explore discomfort. So if you're going to come to one of our clinics, you're going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So this clinic is absolutely for 3-5 plus all the way to a pro level. The difference what you'll have is if we had 8 Ben Johns and Anna Lee and Anna Brights, the level of mental, it would be so granular, it would be so detailed, but it would still be the same. It would just be super finite. When you come down to the 4.0s or 3.5s, it's still the same stuff. It's just a little bit broader, but it's still the same. Like if Ben Johns if I was Ben's coach, we would still talk about opponents' tendencies. We would just get into the crazy granular tendencies because they don't have giant holes. So we would be like super subtleties that he would have to hit you. Mm-hmm. I'm working with the 3-5. We're talking about the exact same thing, except their opponents have these huge holes.
Right.
And so, but the common denominator is them.
Right.
Ben's talking about Fed. The 3-5 is talking about Mary, who's also a 3-5, but it's still the opponent.
Right.
Right. So it is for anybody who doesn't mind feeling uncomfortable and is willing to shelf their ego and come out and stay curious to kind of some things that'll challenge you. It'll challenge your ego.
Which isn't easy. I mean, to acknowledge that you're going to go into something and be uncomfortable is not an easy thing to do unless you've been in therapy for 20 years and you're used to being uncomfortable and you realize I actually want to be uncomfortable because I know that's where the growth is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Excellent. So I get it on the puzzle a little bit.
What puzzle? What puzzle?
So I'm actually thinking about how Jill and I, my wife, we coach, and I'm thinking, gee, how can we pull some of this? I'm already doing it actually, just listening and absorbing, what I get from you online. Things like feel and mindset and stop focusing on the technique and feel what it feels like. You had a story about a child or a young player who you just had, it was a new player, and you just had her hit balls at you. Yeah. You didn't give her any technical. Yeah. And she missed a lot of them, but she was getting them at you. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, how can we as coaches become better at what we do? I don't know if that's part of your plan down the road, but to help educate, as being a coach, I just want to get better at being a good coach. Yeah.
We're actually putting together a Coach the Coaches program.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we're going to do that actually this weekend.
Yeah, on Saturday.
We're going to be doing that this weekend. And it's tough because coaches need to be open to, they also have to shelf their ego and realize, hey, and I'm not saying I don't know everything, but I think I'm a pretty good instructor, and I think like there will be a give and take, but I think to have the coaches be open to it is the first step. That's always been, and when I was teaching mental performance in other sports, that was always the biggest issue, right? Becoming better at something. I think in the nitty gritty of how to become a better coach in the mental performance, I think people, like what you said, don't think about mechanics. I am not anti-mechanic. Mechanics are extremely important, but there's a dance between getting you to hit a certain shot the way you should without telling you all the things that you need to do in order to hit that shot. And I think a lot of coaches, especially when they're beginning, they take them through all the tiny little details of what the shot looks like, and they're not even wrong. The challenge isn't to tell them everything they need to know. The challenge is for them to get the ball from here to that spot. And I don't care how you do it. Some players need a little bit more. Other players, like me, the more you tell me mechanically, the more freaking bananas I get.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so there's a dance between how to feel it and visualize it, but still knowing how to hit it mechanically. And there's no perfect answer for everybody. But I think as coaches, we have to be able to bounce back and forth between the player that is super analytical and needs more of that technical thing, because that's how he or she learns, versus somebody else who just is like, just give me a visual of it. Like, show me. I did a whole lesson last week where he wanted to learn how to hit a drive. And all I did was I experimented with it, and I had him shadow me. I just showed him what my drive looked like, because he was a black belt in Taekwondo, like an 8th degree black belt. So in my brain, I was like, oh, he kind of knows the feel, and he knows the visual, and he's done this. I'm sure he's mechanical too, but he has the background of being able to see it and visualize it to be that high level of 8th degree black belt. So I just said, I'm not going to give him any mechanics at first. I'm just going to show you what this looks like. And I just dropped balls and I showed him, and I asked him, show me what you saw.
Right.
And it was amazing. Like, and I wasn't sure which way he was going to go. If he was like hitting them all off of his, then we would have had to like bring his and show him a little bit more mechanics. But he was so visually oriented. I never said a single mechanical word for the entire hour. I only showed him what it looked like, and I asked him to copy what he saw.
Excellent.
And so for him, that's what he needed. If I were to give him a bunch of mechanics, he'd have lost his mind. For somebody else, it might be the flip opposite. And that's the art. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this. That's the art form of what a coach is. I believe coaching is way more art than science, because information is just information. It's how you get Jill to do it versus how you get Johnny to do it.
Listening and watching, observing, connecting. What kind of human is this in front of me? Well, most of us are visual, right? Some of us are kinesthetic and some of us are auditory, but I think the dominant one is visual, isn't it?
I think on the court, whether you know it or not, like whether you need to be told what to do, you have to be visual and feel. Like, it doesn't mean it has to be the only thing, but that's all we're doing out there.
Right.
We're not talking to ourselves in the middle of a point.
Right.
You might like if I tell you how to do it, it might help you understand it.
Yeah.
But when you actually go play a point, you have to be all visual and
I can totally dig that, because I was a field golfer.
Yeah.
And I'm a field at every sport I do, whether it's surfing or golfing, and it's pickleball too.
Yeah.
And I don't really talk to a lot of people who understand that, and that's okay. But I know what it's going to feel like. Does that mean I hit it the way I want to every time? No. Right. But when I do, it's like butter. It's pure. It's sweet. It actually works. Right. So I can totally relate to this feel thing.
Yeah.
That would be an awesome way to train. All right. So pickleball mindset. You're out there. You're on the road. You're doing clinics. What's next?
Well, we're in the process of writing a second book.
How to play with your wife?
That's going to be part of it.
Come on, man. Going to be part of the whole book. And I need you guys to come back for a week, or we'll come to you. Santa Barbara, we'll come to you.
Yeah, so our next book is on partnership. And that we kind of realized from our clinics is that we would go to our clinics, and our clinics are best when our participants ask a ton of questions and kind of share what they're going through on the court. And what we just noticed was the questions, like 80% of them were about partnership. And I started thinking about it more. One afternoon, I had a bunch of friends, both like senior pro level and amateur, all playing in tournaments that same weekend. And I was getting texts from each of them about how things were going. And there wasn't a single person that was talking about themselves. It was all about, like, this is going on with my partner. I don't know how to help my partner with this. I don't know what the heck my partner is doing. Like, it was all about, so it's like, it became really clear from our clinics and from just everybody we talked to that there's, in this sport, unless you're playing singles, it doesn't matter if your mindset is perfect. If you don't know how to interact with your partner and help your partner optimize their mindset.
It should almost be a rule that after a match, after a tournament, you are not allowed to analyze or talk to anybody about how your partner plays.
Oh my gosh,
You know what I mean? It should be like law. How many times? And look, we're all guilty of it. Whatever. I'm not. Yeah. How many times have you sat there and listened to somebody talk about how their partner?
I personally, like the most common thing I hear, and I've said it too, so I am not immune to this, but the one thing that I think that 100% of us should take out of our vocabulary is, I didn't see a ball. The number of times that
they targeted my partner. I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
How can I do anything?
Yes. But I've never, ever heard anybody say, we won that match only because of my partner. I didn't see a ball. My partner crushed it. Like, nobody says that. People place 100% of the blame oftentimes on their partner, but nobody's giving 100% of their credit to their partner, which it requires us then to say, like, my ego, because we all have one and it's an important part of us, is blinding me to what I'm contributing here, and either how I'm setting my partner up to not be successful, whatever I'm doing. And it's just really hard. I think it's really tough after a loss. It's really natural to go through like a thought process to try to protect yourself from the pain of the disappointment that you have in yourself. You kind of point your finger in the other direction. But it's just so self-defeating. And if it's really true that first of all, people should film their matches, because I would also challenge anybody who says, I didn't see a ball, to go back and look at those matches and just start to take some statistics, because it just doesn't match up. It doesn't tend to. Yeah,
and then honestly look at them. I think we can all see what we want to see. I mean, I record a lot of my matches. You know, Jill and I will watch them. And, you know.
We're never as good as we think, and we're never as bad as we think. Right? I mean, we're never as good as we think, right? But very rarely do we suck as bad as we think we sucked in that match. When you're watching it, I think the partnership thing, like, it's such a pet peeve, and I am as guilty as anybody. Talking about the mental, do we master it? I've made it like it was super intentional after playing with one of my first mixed partners, Lauren Stratman, and I saw myself on video eye rolling and I didn't even know I was doing it, and I was mortified, not even realizing it, because she was a tough tennis player and she wasn't showing me how it was bothering her. When I saw it, I just made that an intention to not ever look like that again.
None of us are perfect.
But I still do it, just not as bad. I think, but like to your point, it should always be about you. When you win a match, it's us. When you lose a match, why wouldn't we just say, I needed to play better?
Yeah.
When we win, we won. When we lose, I need to be better. And then let's talk about it as a unit. But I think our egos just always want to. That freaking kitchen line has an incredible way of just shutting us off from thinking that anything is our fault, because we can't cut our partner off in the angles, you know?
Excellent. So I've got a million questions. I could sit here and chat with you guys all day, but we're going to save that for the next time you come over here. And I hope you will keep us at the top of your list. So we got Pickleball Mindset. You're on the circuit now doing clinics for that. You're in the process of writing the next book, and that's going to be on partnerships.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Jill and I will be in that
Good. Let's go.
If not, getting you for a private. You got to come a day early, and we'll do an 8-hour private.
8-hour private.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being here. I really appreciate it. Literally, I heard they were going to be in Virginia, and I think I sent you an instant message. Oh, by the way, I thought this was funny. So is there another form of communication that you're willing to give me other than Facebook instant messaging? It's like the least one I like.
Right.
You know, so I was thinking about this on the ride over. There's Facebook instant messaging. He's on the outer circle.
Yeah.
Then there's like email. Maybe email's on the further outer circle. I don't know. But then there's
You're talking about me personally?
No.
Oh,
Well, I'm just getting to you. So then there's the inner circle, which is like your phone number and texting, right?
Yeah.
I'm on the inner circle with Jill, right? But I'm not a nudge. I purposely keep it very, I try to. But I'm not asking for your phone number, but I'm saying if I want to communicate, that's a violation. That's a violation. If I want to communicate with you, it's okay to keep me on instant messaging, and maybe I haven't earned, I haven't earned email yet. you know, for the great Dayne Gingrich, which I truly, really appreciate, you guys, and think you're both great.
I didn't know how to comment to that. I think we have a relationship now, right? Like if we gave out our cell number to everybody.
No,
like,
I'm not asking for your cell
but
number.
now I'm gonna block you.
Good. Yeah, that's funny.
Anybody ask me for a cell number?
Yeah. Did I ask you for your cell number? No, just an email or something. Or actually, I can use the one. So I contacted Dayne through instant messaging. He said, if you want to talk to us, go to this website. So I did, and connected with Jill, and she made all this happen.
She's the boss, man.
She made all this happen, and we really appreciate it. So we're looking forward to the next book, Pickleball Partnership, Pickleball something.
Yeah.
And we'll get you back out here for another set of clinics.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate you.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
All right, go chill out. You've been working hard for 2 days. Thanks, everybody. Dill Dinkers, Frederick. Come out and see us. All right, we'll see you soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So,